Welcome to the February 15th, 2024 edition of CED Office Hour Live, brought to you by the Community and Economic Development team here at Central State University in the Extension Department. And we will often refer to Community and Economic Development as simply CED. And before we get started, um, I'd like to give the purpose of this program. And the purpose of this show is to really show and connect you, the residents and organizations and businesses and agencies, to business connections, um, sharing and educating you on all the various aspects of community and economic development, right? And so um, we always start out with giving a definition, our working definition of community and economic development and our role in that space. So, community and economic development looks at how we live, work, play, and thrive, right? And navigate through all of those spaces. And it's a spectrum of things that really affect the quality of life of everyone. So on one end is the physical infrastructure. So that's the development, more the economic development side, which is building of parks, bike paths, building a public buildings, stadiums, highways, affordable housing, just general construction, right? That's all part of the infrastructure side. Those are examples of the infrastructure side of CED work. On the opposite end of that spectrum is the people development of human capital, whether it is helping people to increase their self-sufficiency, empowering them with information, connecting them with resources, assisting with personal development, professional development, workforce development, um, all education, all of those kind of things, right? And then it's the connector between the bookends of that CED spectrum, and that is the agencies such as ourselves, such as Dr. Muff, who just logged in with the Workforce Training and Business Development Center on our Dayton campus, and state agencies, other government agencies, mom and pop organizations, businesses that connect those both ends of those spectrum that kind of make the world go around, right? And so that is what community and economic development is. And as CED professionals, it's so interdisciplinary. So we look at our professional skill set, our bandwidth, our goal within whatever um, mechanism or platform that we're working through, whether it's an agency, whether it's entrepreneurship, or what have you, and plug and play and look at that whole system and see how we can make process improvement, how we can connect people. So we kind of are like system engineers of the CED ecosystem. And here on our CED team here at Central State University, we like to say that we want to work ourselves out of jobs, right? So, what I mean by that is that we work with the community, with organizations, with government agencies, um, with individuals, and help them reach their goals, whether it's through education, whether it's connecting to resources, or just explaining how to navigate through different processes. And so once you achieve that goal, right, we also are equipping you to maintain and sustain whatever that initiative is um, after we're gone. And then our role is for you to come back when you have a new goal or a new initiative, a new idea, and then we help you all over again with that new idea. But as we are assisting you, you're always the lead. And our goal is to kind of be that coach or facilitator, not to take over whatever you are working on. And so that's kind of how we work. And I have two of our members of our team, Eric Smith and Ambrose Moses. So would you all quickly introduce yourselves?
Yes, Ambrose Moses, one of the CED extension educators, and started back in 2017 when we were just putting some folks out into the field. And I've been looking forward to our discussion today.
Yeah, hi, and I'm the Program Extension Associate with Community Economic Development Unit here at Central State, based out of Findlay. So serving Northwest Ohio and the team broadly.
And I am Amber Twitty. I am based in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm part of the CED team. I like working in extension. It's an extension of my background. I've been in CED for 30 years, but I've been in extension about 3.5 years now. So I like the opportunity that we have of working continuously with others throughout the state of Ohio and even across the country. And so today we're going to be focusing our discussion on supplier diversity, outreach, and economic inclusion, and all of how that intersects with extension, specifically CED work within the extension space. And so at this point, I will turn it over to Ambrose as he will kind of kickstart this conversation.
All right. Yeah. So as we get into this, as Amber mentioned, we like the CED Office Hour Live to talk about really where extension and where CED fits into just a wide range of issues. And so back in 2023, one of our sessions, one of our presentations dealt with supplier diversity, outreach, and good faith efforts in a time of crisis. And so we combined a couple things in there as we were talking to a group of diversity and supplier diversity professionals. We were in the Columbus area actually at that time. And so what we plan to do today, because Amber doesn't like us to do death by PowerPoint. We're going to share the slides, but go through briefly, so it won't be the full presentation that we did at that time, but we'll just sort of skim over these slides and the topics, and then be able to open it up for some discussion here on the platform today. So let me get my screen shared and see what we have here. Okay. Is it showing the title slide, Amber? Because
Yes,
everything drops off.
everything's good. Yes.
All right. So yeah, so we did this actually back in August of 2023, but I went ahead and put today's date on it. And as I indicated, we gave a presentation. There's this where we have our breakdown what we're going to do. So there's an introduction, and we talk about Central State, and I want to go into that because we do like the opportunity to share Central State University's history or the history of the status as an 1890 land grant institution, especially since this year, 2024, we are celebrating the 10th year of land grant status. The university received that status back in 2014, so 2024 is the 10th year. I put the first extension agents, which was myself, out into the field in March of 2017. So there was a period of time they get land grant status. There's a period of time before they actually get the funding to start operations, and then they start to put folks out into the field. So as an 1890 land grant institution, and just as all the land grant institutions across the country, we have 1862 land grants, 1890 land grants, and 1994 land grant institutions. They all have the research, teaching, and extension as the primary components of those institutions, those universities. Research and teaching are those typical things that we think about when we think about a college or university that happen primarily on campus. Extension is a unique feature of a land grant institution where the university hires staff that it sends out into the field, out across the state, whatever its territory is, to provide community-based or what they call informal education to residents to help improve their life and their circumstances where they are. And so Amber and I and Eric and also we have a couple of our other folks online as well, but we work within the Cooperative Extension Service. So with the land grant system, 1862 to 1890s, and then there's the 1994s, and it was in 1914 where there was specific legislation passed to help fund the extension aspect of the land grant system. And here's a map that shows all across the country where you have your land grant institution. You can see the state of Ohio being one of those states that actually does have two land grants, Central State University and the Ohio State University. And there's a listing of our 1890s. All right, so I'm going to sort of fast forward through some of these because we are limited on our CED Office Hour Live here today. But one of the things that we've talked about on our team, if you've attended some of our other presentations, with CED Office Hour Live, quite often we talk about why, and we say start with why, or what is your why? And one of the aspects that I like to use is education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And that's part of what extension does, using that education to help change and to improve the lives of the folks that we work with. Now, pulling this into our topic here today, in 2023, the climate really began to change quite a bit. And when we're saying climate here, we're talking in the social, legal aspect. There are some weather climate things that are changing as well. But as we talk here today, there have been some changes in some of the legal approach to things, some of the economic inclusion issues, diversity, all of those kinds of things. And so and it really relates to some of the Supreme Court changes and things of that nature that we'll jump into. But it's important to look at the climate and to be aware of that, what's going on in your world, and the fact that there are threats. And just as in the image here, where you see the cheetah hiding in the brush, there are threats that are there, and you may not originally or initially see it, but that doesn't change the fact that there is a threat. And so one way to sort of visualize this and how sometimes it's hard to connect the dots, when we look at these next couple images, the question is, well, how does all this fit together? So we have this gentleman here, and you have Harvard University, the United States Supreme Court, and Rudy Huxtable from the Cosby Kids, the Cosby Show. So what is the line? What is the connection between those three those images there? Well, Edward Bloom is some folks would call him an activist. He's been an individual who has funded and pursued for many years efforts that were challenging affirmative action in education and other aspects of life. And he was able to pick up an issue at Harvard University to advocate some anti-affirmative action or opposing affirmative action programming and activities of the at Harvard University. And they filed a lawsuit, and it worked its way up to the Supreme Court. Then in 2023, I believe it's June of 2023, the United States Supreme Court, it looks like it was June 29th, 2023, issued a decision in that case, Students for Fair Admissions versus the president and fellows of Harvard College. And essentially, one of the large parts of that case that made a lot of news is the fact of overturning the use of race as a part of affirmative action by universities. And that the case was limited to was talking about the educational context, but many folks start to see that that was a threat that was what could potentially be more broader, have a broader implication. And basically, sort of true to form, what ended up happening is that the Edward Bloom here filed another lawsuit a month later. So after he got the Supreme Court decision, then the following month, he filed a lawsuit against what's called the Fearless Fund, which is a venture capital fund that was started by well, I'll call her Rudy, but she's a grown woman now. She and her partners had set up a fund that was raising money to provide grants to women-owned businesses, and primarily African American women and some other women of color, Latino and African American women primarily. And they would raise the funds, and then they would give it to these selected businesses to help build their enterprises. And part of the issue that they were looking to address is that Black women were and are receiving less than 1% of the venture capital funds that are invested every year. So when the lawsuit was filed, they're challenging the fact, why are you only allowing Black women to have access to these grant funds of $20,000? And without addressing the need of there being less than 1% of those venture capital funds that are going to these women. So it's like not allowing someone to even invest funds into solving or helping to address a major disparity that we have within our society. So I think that what it helps to show is that with that climate, there could be one major legal matter that happens, but then it starts to spread across industries. And since this case, these two cases, there's been many others that have been filed, and also there's been more talk, and I'm sure we can get into the discussion, and Amber probably has some thoughts as well, where there are now companies that are pulling back. Some that are pulling back on their diversity, equity, and inclusion commitments, and in terms of what resources they're putting into those areas, what in terms of money, in terms of personnel or staff, in terms of some of their programs and their policies within their organizations. So it is something that has I think had a major impact and upon our society and upon the economic and inclusion aspect, and it's going to be something I think we will need to talk about. What are the circumstances? What are the some of the challenges? What are some of the strategies that we might want to employ to respond to that? And I think that where we are now is there is the need to broaden the discussion, bring more people to the table to actually evaluate the issues and just talk it through, because it's a scenario that we haven't necessarily faced in this manner. So what I would like to do, just with that quick overview, is to go ahead and sort of stop the sharing of my screen for a second here, then open it up to see what thoughts folks have. I think I've lost my sharing button. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, it moved over to my second screen. All right. Are we
So
back now?
yes, real quick, Kunta is part of our CED team. So Kunta, would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, maybe he's having difficulties.
Okay.
Kunta is on our CED team, and he's based in the Dayton and area. And
Right.
so I also have a special guest today, real quick. Shonda Monroe Williams, can you come on and introduce yourself and the center that you are directing? You are, okay. We can't hear you
Um,
yet on.
okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. And
Yeah,
some of the
sorry
good work
about
that
that.
you do in Cincinnati.
Okay. So my name is Shonda Monroe Williams. I am with UC University of Cincinnati's College, Carl H. Linder College of Business. And I am over project learning, partnerships, and the Urban Impact Studio. And the Urban Impact Studio is critical for us because it was a commitment by our dean, Marianne Lewis, to uh, identify opportunities for us to take our projects from the classroom and push them out into the community so that we can make sure that of the 100+ sessions that we have of project opportunities for our students, they were actually adding value through a service learning model to our community partners. So we work with anywhere from the Ronald McDonald House to some of our larger corporations to the Urban League to make sure that we're able to add capacity as it relates to marketing or setting up the letters from the Black Lives Matters mural down in Cincinnati with Black Art Speaks, et cetera. So we do a lot of work there. And I also do a lot of work advocating for students to make sure they have what they need. So I do that at both the college level as well as the high school level.
So to give you an
Excellent.
example of the work with Black Art Speaks, we actually had Alandis and on our show a few weeks ago. And in Extension World, Shonda, that's called Creative Placemaking, the project where you're getting the letters out into the community. So I just want to always put stuff in extension terms for our extension folks. So that is creative placemaking, what you're doing with that project. So that was another reason why I wanted to bring you on so they could see real live kind of inclusionary projects. And as you know, the topic today is dealing with economic inclusion, supplier diversity, and outreach. So thank you. I know you're very, very busy, so I'm glad you were able to hop on today. And
Thank
we
you.
will have you talking before the show's out.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
so now I'm going to
I
segue
wanted to.
back to Ambrose.
I wanted to ask her, sort of jump right to it though.
Okay, go right into it.
With
Go ahead.
respect to, I guess we have to wait for Shauna to get back.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here. I'm here.
she's
Oh,
here.
okay.
She's
Well,
plugging in because her laptop's about to die.
okay, okay. Well, we
Sorry
had
about that.
as part of our overview, part of the opening, we were referencing the U.S. Supreme Court decision in 2023 overturning affirmative action in higher education. And so, given what you were describing in terms of the work that you do, has that impacted, or have you all had discussions, especially since you also are, it sounds like, engaging with the community and the corporate community as well? Has any of that come up in your work?
Yeah, actually, it's a regular conversation. UC has about, I want to say the last number I saw was 11% African American population. Specifically in the College of Business is about 5%. So it's critical that alumni like myself and community members are brought on campus so that the students, we have about 53,000 students now. The students feel like they're a part of a bigger community, and we try to create smaller microcosms so that they can feel safe in those spaces. And one of the issues we're having now is we can no longer designate programs to specifically target specifically their needs. And so I want to be clear when I say that even though the legislation hasn't officially passed in Ohio, we're preparing for it. And so what we're now saying is that in order to avoid any type of lawsuits or pushback, we need to create spaces where I think my dean says it best. Don't tell me what I can't do, tell me how to do it. And so we've been focusing on, how do we change the language to make sure that it's more inclusive in nature, but don't have any takeaways from the experience that our students have had and benefited from the programs we created targeted to them. And so we've worked really diligently to make sure that we are having those difficult conversations on how that would look.
Wow. So I guess I'm glad to hear that there's discussions going on about it. I guess a question that I have in those discussions, does the phrase or the terminology of compelling state interests come into those discussions that you all are having? Do they bring in maybe someone from the Attorney General's office and they talk about even compelling state interests? Because I haven't seen that being really talked about when I see different reports on it.
No, we haven't. So let me say we are treading lightly in how we make this change, because of the fact that we want to get ahead of it, but we also want to make sure that it's inclusive enough where the students are involved, and we want to keep it very simple for them. And so what we're saying is based off of changes that are happening nationally and locally, we want to figure out how to better continue to support you, but do it in a more inclusive way so that it doesn't jeopardize, our current programs. Because the fear is that they'll start to audit some of the programs. Like we have business fellows that is targeted at my African-American students. And we've never said other people can't join, and nor would we do that because we're committed to all students. But primarily, it's probably 98% African-American. And so now the question becomes, do we open the doors? And, students feel a certain type of way about that. And honestly, my feedback recently has been, a lot of our students are coming from places of first generation degradation, et cetera. And so as we're talking through this, it's not about excluding people for us. It's about how to include people and shape it in a way that still fosters a sense of inclusion for everyone. So if you're going to invite more people in, make sure that your programming and your activities is more intentional. And so that's what I'm asking them. Tell me what you're doing to not focus on, the takeaway, but the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I can honestly say that is very important because when I am a alumna of that business college, and when I was there, it was probably 2%. It was maybe the year I graduated, it was probably 20 of us in the whole school. And it's pretty much reflective of each year. And they had hundreds and hundreds of students in each class. And we did feel isolated, right? And we didn't have the programs that Shonda is talking about. Those didn't exist then. So our support really came from outside of the college in order to be successful. So I can personally attest that a lot of the initiatives that were started are very important. And so it's going to be tricky, but it's still got to be that same kind of impact through those programs. And through those programs, you've had higher retention rates because a lot of times the big colleges will say, we had this new class and it's more than last year, but they don't talk about the retention piece. And so those programs are about retention, so successfully graduating and getting pristine jobs and opportunities that a lot of times, even when I graduated, wasn't even afforded to even be able to apply for, just because of different strategies and just the way information was given out. So I can personally attest that work is very, very important.
Shonda, good afternoon. This is Dr. Terry Muff. I just want to, first of all, thank you for the comment that you made. I heard you say that you're trying to move with intention and be very intentional in how you guys approach this issue and to be more inclusive, so to speak, with regards to if you have to open up the gate, you open up the gate. But I like the fact that you're going to move with some intention. And I say that because in my history and the things that I have done and seen is with that intent that allows individuals the opportunity to get where they want to be with respects to participation and raising the levels of participation, and for participants to still see the value in it. Um, I am here at Central State. I am the project director for workforce training and business development. And in the chat, Amber said, "Yeah, I need to connect you to." Yes, we do need to connect, because I have things that I would love to share along those lines, with what we have out of here that could possibly. We have some things that we're doing online that could help shore up some opportunities and some credentialing for students that will make them, for lack of a cliche, give them more tools in their tool belt, so that when they go out into the world, they get that additional certification that goes with them. That's an industry cert from Google or from Meta or from IBM or Salesforce or something of that nature. So we'd love to connect outside of this meeting and have that conversation and share some ideals back and forth. But I love the fact that you guys are moving with some intent. I think that's great.
I I think that I like to hear what you two are saying, Shonda and Dr. Muff. That's very encouraging to me, because that shows that folks who are in place are taking action, and when you're having conversation about intentionality, okay, that means that you're trying to actually still achieve that goal, even with the climate being as it is. So the climate might be a storm that's coming in, but you're still trying to keep moving forward, getting your rain gear, your the shed, or whatever you need to help protect yourself. I think that at the same time, the when we it is important, I think, for the general society to a community to learn more about sort of the legal underpinning of this as well, because it's that legal structure that's being used is really being sort of activated as like a weapon against those who it was intended to help. Because one of the statutes that's being used, like with the Fearless Fund, it's from the 1866. It's a statute that was for to help remedy discrimination against Black folks. After the ending of slavery, and it's being flipped and now used as a weapon against the folks it was intended to protect. So I just think that it's important, really, for both sides of that. The folks who are on the ground to do what they have to do, but there still needs to be a change within the government system and attacking the law as well. Because when I hear folks speak, just as Shonda started out saying, trying to get ahead of the law, that it hasn't changed yet, but they're trying to get ahead of it. That's what's happening with other corporations and things as well. They're saying similar kind of things.
Right.
So it's like a chilling effect, that is placing on that community, and without that intentionality, you will have just pullback and sort of a regression. So
Yeah, and I will say this, and it's funny because Amber will tell you that when we were at UC as students, we had a lot of things happening, and it resulted in the African American Cultural and Research Center. And so we, understanding what the climate was at that time, fought for some changes and some equality on campus so that we did have a safe haven. As a professor and an executive director, my approach has to be a little bit different than it is in the community sometimes. Because a lot of times when the students come to me, I don't care if they're, African American, if they're from India, if, I have to be very, very open to the fact that at some point they see me as a mentor and a parent. And a lot of times I'm the first African-American professor they've seen. I'm the only African-American professor some of the African-American students have seen on campus. And so I have to foster an environment that anybody can walk through my doors, be it my peers, be it the dean, be it community members, and even parents. And I have an open mind about potentially how they walk into that door and how I want them to walk out. And so, our assistant dean of inclusive excellence for the College of Business, Nick Castro, is phenomenal. He's Latino, and he is very much aware of, one, he understands the gaps that he has in understanding the African American specific opportunities, but he also understands what equity and lack of it looks like for our community. So it keeps him up at night. And my advice to him last night was, don't let it keep you up at night, because that's what they want us to do. They want us to not be rested in this process. What I want you to do is get sleep and then come into the office and be willing to have hard conversations. And when you have those hard conversations, be able to figure out what your next steps are and who you need to partner with to be able to move forward. And so that's what I like about this process is we're very clear on campus it's not going to break us. It's just going to make us a lot more effective. Where we do have to be more intentional is when I get off campus, though, my community persona has to be more involved in the political arena so that we educate people, as you're saying, on why our votes count, why we have to pay attention to legislation that is happening around us and in most cases to us because of the fact that we're not informed enough to be able to make appropriate decisions. So it's sometimes struggle because I try to find the balance between my academic and my personal profiles. And I always say there's one Shonda, but honestly, in this space right now, there isn't. There has to be two ways of approaching this so that we don't close doors on people who may be fearful of having those conversations if they feel that they are going to be derailed, I would say, for the lack of a better word.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. Well, I know that we have also the second half, the second other issues, Amber. I don't want to take everything. So do you want to?
No,
How do you want to merge it in?
the
Or
purpose of this show is to go with the flow, right? So if we don't get it in, we'll just add it to another show.
okay,
This conversation is very important, and it really does tie into the topic anyway. It's just coming in from the people part of it, and the policy development that affects. So things that Shonda's doing affects everything we've been talking about today anyway.
yeah. Well, and it's interesting. Shonda, as you were speaking, I hear you talking about basically wearing the two hats. Your at work or at the university hat, and then your out in the community hat. Um, and that is part of that dilemma, that dynamic that folks I think in the space have to be able to navigate. And so yeah, I think that's right on point there. So
But I will say behind closed doors. Now, this is what I really like about being 54. Behind closed doors, me and my dean have had some very hard conversations about how, things present themselves, and the impact that it has on our students and, our faculty, et cetera. And what I like about her is that she's very open to that feedback. Now, we may not always agree on how we move forward on that feedback, but a lot of times she understands the feedback, she welcomes the feedback, and then we talk about how do we move forward. So I try to be very solution oriented and give her options of, here's, some perspectives that we can consider as we talk about how do we move forward. And I think that is where I would challenge us not to just be at the office acting as if everything is all rosy, because it's not. I do have those conversations, but I have them in the right rooms so that people don't feel like they're put on guard in the wrong rooms.
right. And that's critical. That's critical. So it's good. It's great that you have that environment where you can, like you said, behind the doors, where you can actually have that kind of discussion and work with it, try to work things through. So yeah, that's important.
And I just want to add, I think sometimes it's we talk about safe space for students and safe space for personnel to have a conversation, have those tougher conversations. We know that we have a need also to wear those different hats, community hats versus college hats versus this hat and that hat, because we are faced with those decisions that will challenge what we do on a regular basis. And those challenges, from my point of view, those challenges are always those things that's gonna step up and make you think or examine who you are as an individual. It'll make you examine who you are. It'll also make you examine your approach and your impact that you're having on what you do. It's not a bad thing, but it makes you take a look at it. And my mom always used to say, look in the mirror first before you start looking at everybody else. Look in the mirror and see what you've done wrong or what you haven't done to improve your circumstance, or what you haven't done to make this particular situation better. So it makes you re-examine yourself, and I'm okay with that as an individual. I'm okay as that as Dr. Terry Muff. I have to take those hard looks at myself, because the information that I try to bring to the community and share with the community, it's all about opportunity and giving them the chance to develop something that wasn't there before. And I'm coming straight out of a left field, trying to get them to understand here's a chance for us to do something different, something maybe great one day, but something different that will allow us to be able to say, hey, I got this from Central State. And because I went to this program, went to this workshop, I got this type of insight, development, and opportunity that was created for me. So look, I mean, it makes you readjust who you are and make you take a look at how you can impact things better.
Right. Right. And
I think we should have Dr. Muff on the show sometime to talk about those programs.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he'll be on next week.
I'll be around somewhere.
Yeah,
I think
know.
I'm on the chart somewhere.
Next week. You're up
next
next
week. Yeah, it is
week.
next week. I'm on the chart somewhere, but I'm really, my passion is trying to make sure that we move the needle in the community, and change the dynamic. And everyone always says, well, how can you move the needle? How can the needle gets moved when people understand what you have to offer, but it also gets moved hopefully when they understand the potential opportunity that exists from what they're going into. I think sometimes we don't look far enough forward. So
well, yeah, I would say to that point, Dr. Muff, yeah, far enough forward, but a big part of it is also just awareness, because the things that you're offering through the Workforce Training and Business Development Center, they're tapping directly into these opportunities for the economic inclusion, participating in this this growing and fast-paced economy, but people don't know. They don't know it's there, and that's just along the line also of extension at the university. We're still trying to get the awareness out. So the university, Central State as a university, yes, the impact and the reach of the university itself is far greater now than just a small campus in Wilberforce. So that aspect of it, just that awareness has to be built upon as well. And then, then the different programs and activities, certifications, and all of that.
yeah. One
Well,
of the
on
big
top of
things.
that,
Go ahead.
it's not just the awareness, right? It's also, we are in a unique position where we are positioning people to navigate those unwritten rules, right? To continue the work beyond ourselves, to continue this culture of inclusion, right? um, we're giving them the tools to do that. So as they leave the comforts of the university kind of setting or our training sessions and the safe spaces that we create, they are equipped to expand those kind of environments wherever they go. And I think we are more than just awareness.
I think the opportunity too is how when you talk about Dr. Muff, how we show up. Before I even walk into a room, my question is, and can raise awareness. My question is always, what is my engagement strategy? Because we immediately go to creating an awareness strategy, and we're not really even clear how we want to engage people, how we're going to, target the right communities, et cetera. And so how I would engage one population is not how I would engage another. And
Right.
so my initial thing when I showed up to UC, because I come from a corporate background, was that I wanted to go in always with my HR hat on. And that's what I told people. I wanted to go in, and everything that I said, everything that I did, I wanted to go in with my HR hat on when I dealt with my peers and my, and my boss, et cetera. When I came engaged with the students, though, I show up as a mother. And I'm very clear that I'm a professor and I'm an executive director, but I close the door and I have conversations. And as I'm walking them through it, I approach it from a standpoint of what would I want someone who was able to influence my child in that moment to say. And I even may say, when I see them almost there, I'll say, can you get your parent on the phone right now? Because I think this may be a time
Exactly.
where you need them to take you over to the next level. Right.
Exactly.
So I want them to know that you're struggling right now in this conversation and that you're on the teeter of making a good decision and a not so good decision. So I think we got to be more, even when I talk about intentional, I always use that word. We got to be more intentional on how we gauge people before we can create awareness.
I agree. 100%.
Excellent. Wow.
Amber and Ambrose, I wonder, you've set such a amazing discussion, table for an amazing discussion, and I'm here and I'm learning. I wonder if we could take it back to where you started, Ambrose, and what's the role of the 1890 when you have this kind of a climate issue? What do you feel the role of an 1890 and extension and an HBCU is?
Yeah, well, I think that I would focus more on the well, I guess a couple things. Well, just as an HBCU, I think the having the doors open so that students, young folks have somewhere to go, and that they know where you are, and that they can value and see the value in going there and feel welcome. And I would say this because it's been my philosophy that I believe myself that all Black students going to college they either attend an HBCU or at least spend 1 year at an HBCU, because I started at the Ohio State University, and then I transferred to Grambling State University for I was there for like a year and a half before I came back. But the experience, Ohio State had tons of resources and different programs, this and that, but I still felt like I was falling through the safety net, and like I just wasn't fully connected. I was part of organizations and stuff, but still didn't feel connected. On the campus at Grambling State University, HBCU, all the issues, I'll say most of the issues that felt like sort of related to race were like gone. And I felt more just like almost more of a pure student. Now, there's always challenges, even as a student, but that's all I had to deal with. I didn't have to deal with as much culture kind of thing. The most that we had to deal with was you have Chicago and Cleveland and New York and the rural counties, rural parishes of Louisiana. So that kind of culture differences. But so I just think that experience is important. So for students to be able to have that, to recognize and be able to get into that, I think that's where the HBCU comes in. And then help build that strength and confidence, and they can go back out and do what they have to do at the other universities. Now, extension, though, the cooperative extension service is a very strong resource and underutilized. And this would be between the 1862s and the 1890s. That infrastructure, we can disseminate so much information, so much training, so much value to strengthen people and to educate. That, I think, does need to be relied upon more, and there needs to be more coordination between it, between the different services. That it's just amazing how undervalued and underutilized cooperative extension is. You have to remember, even when I attended the Ohio State University, I knew it was a land grant, but I knew nothing about extension. I did not, until I saw the posting for Central State, I didn't know extension was a thing. But now that I do, and as you guys came on as team members, it's like the value of it. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. So I hope I answered the question and didn't ramble too much, but it's very, very, very underutilized. I don't think people understand it. So
when you guys from Extension are moving throughout the community and addressing community issues or trying to help them along their way, do you find that there is there a lot of apprehension to what you're bringing to the table? Or is that one of those things that they know you're there to assist and help, and they're welcoming your information and your opportunity for them to engage?
Well, my experience has been they didn't know we existed, didn't know you had these resources. And the way that, at least in the Cincinnati area, and I say the lower half of the state, because of my previous work, I've been in community economic development for so long, I already have a brand. So I didn't really have to deal with trust issues. It was more, hey, this is opportunity for you. Amber, tell me more. And then I say, here are different ways that you can use it. Here are things I can offer. Here are some other resources based on that conversation, right? So I really haven't had to deal with a trust issue. It's really been more to Ambrose's point about awareness that this is an opportunity. And it's not just out in the community, it's even been on our campus. As small as our campus is compared to other land grant universities, we've been grinding on this, the last 4 years strong, right? Connecting just even to our university campus and saying, hey, you can use us too. Let's partner. What are you working on? And this show has been one of the platforms that we've been able to start those conversations. Even within our own extension, we're the newest team as a team, and they think that community economic development is one little piece. And then as they learn more and more, they're like, oh, well, now other people from other teams are even coming to us within our own department and saying, hey, let's look at how we can partner. How can we be creative? Amber, what are some of the strategies that you use for outreach in underserved communities, right?
Yeah.
How did you do this? Even from Ohio State University, my counterparts there, Amber, I have this issue. How do I build trust? And it comes back to this is ways you can build trust, right? Here are some grassroots ways. Don't always go by theory. You got to read people and use some emotional intelligence, right? And so that is usually the base of our conversation. So in my experience, it hasn't been about trust.
I think that what Amber, what your comments illustrate, is the dynamics. You have the individual aspect in terms of like when you say trust, and then you have the sort of the name, reputation, awareness as to the university. So when I started, I went to Cuyahoga County. That was my territory, and I had maybe gone to Cleveland, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 times, in my life. I'd never really been up there, so it's a new area for me. So the awareness issues, people were familiar with in many times Central State because there's a large alumni base there, and so doors were easily opened when you say you're with Central State. Now they were questioning, well, what are you doing here? But they wanted to talk because everyone says, well, I went to Central State, or I have a relative that went to Central State, so there was welcoming there. But then you have to educate, like we started here, what land grant, what extension, why are we here, what can we do? So I think to the point, and to your question, Dr. Muff, I think it just sort of differs. It varies based upon each region, county you're in, and the personnel who's involved. And so that's a very good question. I think it really highlights that, and I think each scenario probably requires some flexibility in terms of addressing the situation on the ground when you're there. What are you bringing with you? Who do you know? Yeah. So wow, I think that's important. But I think that with our organization, having folks who have relationships, or who know how to establish relationships, has been essential, to that.
Yeah.
And to Shonda's point, when she said we have to be intentional on how we engage people before we can build awareness, and that's how we function, right? So even before I go out in the community, Eric, Ambrose, and I have conversations like, "Hey, trying to do this," and we powwow to make sure, we'll bounce off ideas on, okay, I'm thinking about engaging them this way. What do you think? So it's thought put into it. I don't just show up and say, hey, here I am. My personality is kind of like that, but I really do my homework before I engage, especially when it's people who don't already know me, right? Because you can only get that first impression once. And that initial interaction really dictates your ability to build that trust and to be productive.
Great. Thank you.
So, wow, we're running.
Yeah, this happens whenever we're having really good conversation. Kunta, I know you were having trouble with your audio and everything. If you're able, please come on and introduce yourself. Because I know he's been kind of in and out with he's
Okay.
he's out in Southeast, I think, so at the conference. Monique James joined us. Monique, would you like to say anything? Go ahead, Kunta, if you can come on. And then Monique, come on afterwards if you can.
Hey everybody, Kunta Jackson, CED, Community Economic Development Educator, Southwest Region. Pleasure of mine to be here. Great topic, great discussion. Thank you very much.
Right. All
And
right.
then, okay, and then
Hello.
Monique. Hi, we
Hi.
can hear you.
If you can hear me, hey. Yes, this is an informative platform, and I want to thank you very much, Amber, for inviting me. We are in Atlanta. Just have to let you all know that Amber has reached all the way down here and into Alabama to help us begin to work with Tuskegee and hydroponics and every other community outreach effort that's available. It's mind-boggling the magic that Amber has worked with us. So just so glad to be a part of the discussion, and anything that we can contribute, please let us know. Know that we are poised to do so. But
So,
Amber, we want to thank you so much.
oh, you're more than welcome. And with Monique, she has done a lot of work in this inclusion space and economic development, from working with veterans in the transportation industry, and she has a nonprofit in Atlanta, but she's originally from Cincinnati. So we worked
Okay.
on the Banks development. That's all the development between the Reds and the Bengal stadiums, working at doing economic inclusion work. And when I first came to the university, in the extension space, I'm excited and I'm telling her, hey, join, you got to get into agriculture, right? And she said, Amber, I don't have time for that. And then she researched it, and now her son is the youngest certified farmer in Georgia, and he's only
Certified
13 years old.
hydroponic farmer.
Hydroponics, I'm sorry,
Hydroponic.
certified hydroponics
Wow.
farmer in the state of Georgia. He has been doing some research work. He has done some international projects. He graduated from high school last year at 13 years old. And so he is doing awesome things. And I'm glad to be able to be in position to make those connections. So even though he does want to come back up to Cincinnati and Butler County as well, through the Hugs organization, to do some work up here. But right now, he is in Georgia, and he will be doing some good things in collaboration with Tuskegee University. And so just have to give him his kudos, and he's doing awesome work. And he's
And he
teaching
turns
adults how to do the hydroponics.
and he turns 14 today. So
Oh,
he's
wow.
happy
Happy
about that, and
birthday.
he
Oh,
signed
wow.
on a contract for a couple of months. And most of it is really due to Amber's connections, and just bringing him into the fold of the HBCU community, because it's not just Tuskegee. He's also working with Morehouse and the University of Liberia. So, but if it wasn't for Amber, he wouldn't have ever been able to get his free. I mean, the University of Cincinnati paid for his research certificates 2 years ago, so he can be a co-PI on a research project. And he got to meet Dr. Fauci and on and on and on. So Amber's just doing fantastic things and connecting him, even with the NIH.
Excellent.
Which is the National Institute of Health.
Well, Amber, I think I'm going to start calling you Magic Twitty now, I think. The Amber Magic.
With all those connections, Amber knows everybody. or she knows somebody who knows somebody.
Right. I can connect you to the people of my people.
and just as I just wanted to make a final point, I know we're going to be wrapping up and probably momentarily, but since with that mention of Tuskegee, since we're still in February in terms of the Black History Month aspect of that, and we talked about the structure of extension, I just wanted to so talk about Thomas Monroe Campbell, who was the first extension agent. We saw on the one slide that said in 1914 is when the Smith-Lever Act was passed that permanently funded the Cooperative Extension Service. And then Thomas Monroe Campbell, who was at that time at Tuskegee, working under Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver, was then hired under that legislation as the first extension agent of the cooperative extension system. So just a little bit of Black history to finish out our session here. All right, that's all I have today, Amber.
Okay. Well, Team Kunta, Eric, and Ambrose, do you have any closing remarks or comments?
Well, I gave mine. Eric?
I know.
No,
Eric,
I was just here as a student. I'm learning. Thank you. What a gift you all are.
Dr. Muff, Shashonda, Monique. or Richard, do you all have any closing remarks or comments?
Well,
As usual, I think this was great.
All right.
Well, awesome. And in the chat, Richard said that Malcolm X is his family, the little family. So he's part of that Black history, which is true. And then Shashonda said, thank you, everyone. See you all next week. And on that accord, thank you for joining us today. It's a fruitful conversation. And even though we didn't get to everything as planned, but that's the purpose of this show, is to be engaging and go with the flow. So we adjust in real time, and we can always add those other things that we didn't get to today in another session. So I think that this conversation was very important. And next week, next Thursday at 2:00, on deck will be the illustrious Dr. Muff, and he will be talking about all of the resources that they do through our Workforce Training and Business Development Center. And we're coming up on an anniversary because you officially launched in conjunction with us last year.
Yeah.
In March. And so we look forward to all the great things that you have done and continue to do, and to inform and have that discussion about the good things coming down the pipe that you're launching this month. So look forward to that conversation next Thursday at 2. And at that point, thank you for joining us. This concludes our CED Office Hour live show for today, February 15th, 2024. See you next week.
Bye.
All right.